First thing I remember knowing was the lonesome whistle blowing and a youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train.
Kenny Laulis is the kind of storyteller that you don't soon forget. When I drove up to Barbour County, West Virginia to interview him, I had no idea the kind of stories I was in for. I stepped into a home full of knickknacks, old rifles, and cigarette smoke. And Kenny told so many stories as I was setting up my equipment that I wanted to prop up my cell phone and record him right there. But the stories only got better once he sat down in his kitchen chair with his favorite guitar and told me every story he could think of from childhood on. So buckle up for these mountain memories that you will be sure to remember, because I know I will.
No one could steer me right. Mama tried to raise me better, but her pleading I denied. Leave only me to blame. Mama tried. All right. Herkimer, New York. I was stationed at Fort Niagara, and the helicopter crashed. The motor went out of it, and the guy set it down. It was in February. Set it down by reversing the props when it got down close to the ground. Set it down in the cornfield, and me and my buddy went up to guard it while they worked on it. They put a new engine in it. The warrant officer, he was a pilot, and he said, "We'll take a little spin, you know." And, well, I was tickled to death. And then he shot it straight up. My old stomach went, "Oh, that was a bit serious." And then he took right at a railroad crossing like that, or a trestle, and of course he was back farther than it looked like he was. And then raised it up and went on. Come around over the canal and leaned it over, and when he leaned, it would shake. And you could just look out like that and you'd look right at the water. I thought, man, I ain't crazy about this ride. But when he comes back to the little airport, he tells the crew members over, they all got headsets on. He tells them, now I'm going to cut the engine and set it down like I did when the motor went out. Well, me and my buddy said, we don't hear that, see? This thing quits. And you can just imagine what, and I mean, it just started falling. That's probably the scariest I ever was in my life. Because in my opinion, I was looking death in the face. Well, when he just kicked the props back in and set her down. We got out and he said, we'll take another little spin tomorrow. I said, sir, you'll never get me in that thing again. And I've never been off the ground since then in a plane. So if you ever hear telling me getting killed in a plane crash, you know it fell on me. We was cutting a tree, 2 big oak trees. And we had just a little clearance, and it was leaning towards this house and electric lines and stuff over there. So we notched it and got the cable up on it with the dozer and got everything set. And when we started cutting, the tree started going, and then it's going fine, and then it caught up with the cable. Junior had the dozer in too low a gear, and it took out telephone lines, electric lines, broke everything down. Well, later on, I got a load of wood and I was taking it across town. And I was going by the pool room, and the guy, we had CB radios, and they called me the Country Hag, was my handle. Country Hag, did you cut the tree down on the cable? 10-4. Come to find out, it was Kentucky Derby Day. And they said just as they said, and they're off. The cable went out.
Tell them about our wedding. That's a good one to tell.
I remember we had to break in the church to have one. That's fact.
We were getting married, and we had the date set. Well, first of all, Kenny decides we're getting married in a week. And we go on a drive to Moorfield, and we're not coming home till we set a date. He sets the date 6/6/86 so he could remember it. Our minister decides he couldn't marry us because we'd both been married and divorced. Greg Lewis, another minister, he'd do it. And so nobody knew except some of the family, John and Kenny's family. And all of a sudden we go to the church and the church is locked. Solid.
None of us has a key.
Nobody has a key. So my brother put his son through the window, and he goes back and he unlocks the door. And people just kept coming and coming, and the church is full, and I'm getting more nervous all the time. And my chest, when I get nervous like now, my chest gets real red. You can see it through the wedding gown. And my dad walks in, and I'm changing into the gown. He opens the door, and I'm like, wait. And he said, ain't I supposed to walk you down the aisle or something? So Dad gets me, and we walk up the aisle, and the preacher's saying he's staying, and he's needing the rings.
Stephen lost the rings.
Stephen lost the rings. So anyway, somebody runs back in the back. They find the rings. It was crazy though. If it could have went wrong, it went wrong. The church was packed. We had no idea anybody was coming.
Trying to tell me something all along. I just wouldn't listen.
That's what I was saying. Oh, you could see in the whole pictures that we got me looking at the back door. I just wanted to run. Just wanted to run. I should have run. Should have run. God was telling us.
If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it and to subscribe to our channel. You never know what stories are going to come next. Also, if you have a story that you would like to share or you'd like to support our channel, you can go and visit our website, which is in a link in the description below. Let's keep sharing the stories that made us.